Joseph Quinn took the metal world by storm by playing Eddie Munson in Stranger Things Season 4. But his own story remains untold, so keep watching to see the life and struggles of Joseph unfold in front of you. Early life of Joseph Quinn. The D&D master Joseph Quinn has become an absolute fan favourite after the release of Stranger Things, and he's literally the talk of the town. But things weren't always this easy for him, and he wasn't a pop sensation forever. He was born in the UK, and in comparison to the actors who claim to start acting since childhood, Joseph really did. He began his career by working on a school play during the day and sleeping in a nursery during the night. But what actually helped him start his career was watching different plays in the theatre and getting the first-hand experience of acting. He was just an ordinary boy who loved theatre and wanted to pursue performing arts as a full-time job. By working there, he had a chance to explore the techniques of some of the best actors in England. These techniques helped him polish his own skills, and that's what made the climax of Stranger Things 4 feel so real and heartbreaking. Even during school, Joseph worked really hard on his skills and stayed up all night rehearsing scenes. As a result, he ended up getting a scholarship and soon got into the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. Expert of period pieces. When he was just 15, he was offered a role in a TV series named Postcode, but it didn't do much for his career. Plus, Joseph got a chance to look into the works of Philip Seymour, and he was deeply influenced by his life and work. He even said in an interview, "Philip Seymour Hoffman is, in my opinion, one of the greatest actors of all time. I go back to watching his stuff quite regularly." He went on working on Mosquitoes, which is one of the proudest moments of his life. Joseph kept on working with theatre because that's what he loved the most. Despite the difficulties of not having all the money in the world or not having enough connections, he found his way into the acting world. He soon got invited to the audition of Catherine the Great, and Joseph says, "It was a project that I couldn't really turn down." He went on and played the part of Catherine's son and received a lot of praise for it too. He also worked on another series, Dickensian, back in 2016, but it was yet another period piece. So people started seeing him as someone who only finds comfort in historic genres and is doing similar sort of roles. But Joseph himself said that working on period and historic shows wasn't intentional. He further says, "At this stage in your career, to an extent, you take what you are given. I try to make sure that the roles I take, if they're offered to me, aren't too similar." Do you know that working on period pieces has become kind of a staple for Joseph? Because Stranger Things is also based in the past, so it could be categorized as a period piece. His career was slowly getting to a better place as he had good representation and people wanting to see him on screen. Plus, his acting was exceptional, and you might not have noticed, but Joseph even appeared in an episode of Game of Thrones in Season 7. His fans remember seeing him as the guard. He played Kona, who didn't let Arya enter the castle in The Spoils of War Season 7. Not a fan of social media. Joseph is more of an artistic kind of person, and he doesn't value the fake image that social media creates of celebrities. So much so that he deleted his social media accounts in the past except for Twitter. Though he created it again after getting on board with Stranger Things, he still isn't a fan of sites like Instagram and Facebook. He actually believes, "I find it incredibly image-centric medium that devalues the use of words." In addition, Joseph doesn't get a lot of time for social media either because he spends most of his day researching and working on his character. He immerses himself completely in the character and does thorough research on the time period of the show, transforming into a D&D master. He did the same with Eddie Munson's character, and that's why people related to his role as a D&D master. His standard practice is that he listens to the historic music of that time to understand their taste and the period itself. When Joseph auditioned for a part in Stranger Things, he wasn't really sure if he would get a role as the show was all the hype on the internet. Joseph said, "Obviously, I don't think it's a call you're expecting ever. I did a couple of auditions and then they asked me to get involved. That felt very shocking." He got the role of Eddie Munson and ended up becoming one of the most loved characters in Season 4. He symbolizes the satanic panic that was a staple of that time, so much so that the Duffer Brothers based Eddie on a very real man. This man was accused of ending someone's life just because he played games like D&D. So playing the role of Eddie was a huge responsibility, and by the feedback Joseph received from the audience, it sounds like he did a good job. He was also very excited about the role because, according to him, it was really kind of an interesting time. Heavy metal really stands in the face of rusty American values. But would you believe that before playing in Stranger Things, Joseph never really played D&D and even bought a book that could teach him how to play for real? However, he wasn't really a D&D lover, so he couldn't connect with Eddie at all. And instead, we went for a musical way. He decided to resonate with Eddie through metal because Joseph himself was a huge fan of heavy metal. This helped him better understand the character and get into his psyche. Plus, Joseph had his own reasons to accept a character like Eddie Munson. He revealed them in an interview by saying, "He's written to be cared about, and that's a gift for any actor, really. He reads as one of those characters that I was always very impressed with growing up." Even during his first day at the show, Joseph felt welcomed, and even though he was so new, no one made him feel like it. Finn, who plays Mike Wheeler, even came up to him and praised him for such good work after the first shoot. Joseph said in an interview, "I'm getting emotional thinking about it. He's not a kid, but he's a young person, and to have that kind of instinct to kind of be a family was just, I wasn't expecting that." Little did Joseph know that this would be the very character who would make him an absolute legend and would be his big break. After playing Eddie Munson, he literally blew up on the internet, and now he's got millions of fans. Comic-Con incident. But he recently got into a scandal where security treated him badly during the London Film and Comic-Con. It all went down when the authorities oversold the meet and greet and hundreds of people showed up. Joseph was trying to interact with everyone and was chatting with his fans when security staff pretty much tackled him. A fan present at the moment said the way Joseph Quinn was treated at LFCC is disgusting. Staff fully yelled at him to shut up and just sign and not to interact with fans because they oversold and couldn't get all the people seen. Joseph is so kind that he said nothing to the security staff, but the next day when the Q&A session started, a fan got up and thanked Joseph for being so kind to them and for signing their stuff despite being treated like this by the authorities. The fan also said, "We've travelled far because we really connected with you and you made our weekend." And with these words, Joseph Quinn started crying. Though he was trying to hide it and was wiping his tears, the news of him crying took Twitter by storm. It just shows how much he feels for his fans and how good of a human being he actually is under pressure. He had so much influence in season 4 that fans are still not believing that he's done with Stranger Things and are still hoping for some sort of resurrection of Eddie Munson's role. As Stranger Things has such an influence and devoted followers, it was a lot of pressure for Joseph and he struggled with his role quite a lot. So much so that he even said once, "There's a lot of devotion towards this show and you don't want to ruin it." Joseph has worked really hard to be at the place where he is, and he's done everything from television, theatre, shorts, movies and shows. Also, a lot of people think that having such a strong theatre background means Joseph didn't have to work a lot for playing Eddie, as he's already a great actor. But little do they know that the actor did thorough research on Eddie and the person on which this character is based. He understood the essence of that age and then used it to improve his acting. And he accepts that during the show, even though everyone was extremely supportive, he still felt pressured because the audience always has high expectations from Stranger Things. Also, when Joseph got to know that he had to play guitar in the last episode in such an iconic scene, he couldn't believe it. He said, "I went and bought a guitar and then practiced manically for months until we ended up shooting the thing." So it's pretty clear that playing Eddie Munson wasn't a cakewalk for him, and even though he's a great guitar player, he still got shaky at times. Do you think Joseph Quinn is one of the few legendary actors that came out of theatre? Let us know in the comments section, and thanks for watching.